Hi and a warm welcome back to the garden. In this video I'm going to be planting this beautiful yellow geum in this perennial bed. Not so long ago I made a video about changing a spring container with all the bulbs that were dying into a summer container, and in that container we grew a grass and a lovely red geum. Now if you've not seen that video already, I'll put a link to it on the screen. It was a bargain, £6 for 3 red geums. We went back to the same garden centre, this is in North Wales, and this time when we went they had a beautiful yellow version, and yellow is what we were missing. We've got the orange, we've got the red, but now we've got the yellow. And this is a beautiful, I don't know what the name is, but it's just a beautiful geum. I don't even care what it's called. I've had it soaking in this bucket for a while because it is a very hot day and I want to make sure that it's going into the ground with some wet roots. The worst thing to do is have a containerised plant going into the ground, particularly during a very hot day like we're having at the moment with dry roots. So always make sure plants go in the ground already watered. It does help them get off to a better start, particularly if you're just watering the surface after planting. If you have a great big root like we've got here that's quite deep, it's going to take a lot of water to penetrate into the soil and get to the very base of where the roots are. So my advice is make sure they get watered beforehand and also after planting. Because there's 3 geums in this pot, I'm going to do the same thing that we did with the red one, and that is break them out into their individual parts. Now I know a lot of you will think, well, it's flowering, don't disturb the roots. I'm going to make sure that it's kept well watered, and that is the main thing where people fail when they're trying to split and divide plants that are flowering. I want to get these in the permanent position. I don't want to plant the whole 3 together and then later when it's finished flowering start dividing it up. I want to get them divided now and into the place where they're going to be for the foreseeable future. So I'm just going to quickly do that first. So I'm just going to grab the whole plant, and you can see it's lovely and moist. I'm just going to place it in the bucket for the time being, and then with your knife I'm going to divide it into the 3 geums that are within the one pot. Okay, so I'm going to look for where the plants are divisible, and I'm just going to put the knife right in and right along, right down to the bottom. So I'm just going to divide it into the 3 plants, starting with this first one first. And if we can just use some brute strength, and that's the first one out. I'm just going to put that straight back into the bucket of water so it's not losing any moisture. And then the next bit I'm going to divide this into the 2 plants. So notice the soil is very wet, and that will just help with the shock of disturbing these roots. And then put them back into the water. So that's the first job done. So now they've been split, we can start to get them planted. I've already dug the first hole for this one, for the first one, and it's just a matter of placing it into the hole at the right depth. So the depth that they were planted in the pot is perfect. And I'm just going to have this mingling with these aqualegias, this very first one. So in it goes. and it's here, and you can see just how lovely it looks mingling amongst the aquilegias there. And then I'm going to fit the other two just in front. Now this soil is quite gravelly, so it does mean with these, because they do like a bit of moisture, that we're going to have to make sure that they don't dry out, particularly within the next few weeks. So it's going to form a little triangle. Just around here. Now I know sometimes people can sometimes criticise us for planting too close. I know we did get a comment with regards to our Lichnus coronaria when I planted this, but as you can see, the three individual plants have now grown together into a nice big clump, and that's how we like to plant. We don't like to see soil, because when you see soil, it's an invitation to invite weeds into the garden. So we do like to plant quite close. And if a plant is getting a bit big and beyond the space that we're allocating it, we dig it up at the right time and divide it. But we do like to have a really nice packed border. And that's the reason why we plant so close. We don't want to wait for 2 years, 3 years for borders to fill out. We had to do that when we were designing gardens, because a lot of people were on a budget and they could only buy a certain size plant. So you had to allow the space for that plant to grow. And obviously if we're not caring for that garden after we've done the design, it can sometimes mean that straight away the clients were having to do a lot of things with plants that they weren't perhaps comfortable with. So you've got to give them space to grow. Whereas in our own garden, where we're constantly out here, constantly editing. Editing's a nice word. Constantly editing the picture. It does mean we can plant a lot more closely in the space. So I think that is absolutely fantastic. You've got this nice Bordeaux Barlow, that nice red, mingling with this. We'll have the salvia, which is a lovely pink when this comes up, and that'll fill around this space there. And we'll have the blue of the Pavoschia, which will come up there and form some nice blue spires, as well as these nice pink of the Lichnus coronaria. So all we need to do next is give it a water first. Because I know we've given it a drink already, I want to make sure that these are not going to suffer from any drought. So plenty of water, and then just with some compost, give the whole area a mulch. That'll lock in some of that moisture we've just watered, and it will also give the plants some added nutrition to support all these lovely yellow flowers. It's a mucky job, but a thoroughly enjoyable one, and I think they look beautiful. Just what the space needed, a lovely pop of yellow. And these Geums will not get devoured by slugs, so we know for sure we're planting these with pure confidence that these will be happy here, they'll grow, they'll flower, and there's no need to worry about the slugs devouring them, because they don't like Geums. So if in doubt, as Marjorie Fish would say, plant a geranium, I'm going to say plant a geum. Because she's already coined that term, so I'm going to create a new term. If in doubt, plant a geum. Because these are just absolutely gorgeous. Thank you so much for watching this video on me just planting this beautiful yellow geum. Please give the video a like, please subscribe, and please drop any comments in the comments box below the video. We'll see you very, very soon on the next one. In the meantime, please take care.